It's the Big Fat American Radio Network. I'm Zach Martin, and you never know who's going to stop by the studios. We've got these, I would say students at this point. It's the best way to describe who we have in the studio. Musical students, young adults. We'll call them young adults. Little guys. Well, anyway, introduce yourself. You with the hat.
Which one?
You with the hat over here to my right.
My name is Emil.
Emil?
And they're twins.
And you're twins?
Yes.
Are you identical twins?
No, we're fraternal.
See, that's a good question I ask because a lot of people always assume that when you're twins, you're identical, even when you might not be. What's really stupid is when it's a boy-girl twin, and they go, are you guys identical? Like, what kind of stupid question is that? Now, being that you are twins, have you ever pulled the fast one on people who might not recognize the difference? I know your parents, they can definitely see the difference. I see the difference.
Well, when we talk to them on the phone, sometimes I can't tell either.
See, that's funny. Yeah. Do you try to get each other in trouble by doing those kind of things?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good stuff. What about in school? Have you ever pulled anything being twins? I mean, if you're gonna be a twin, use it to your advantage. Is what I would say.
I haven't really used it at school much. Normally at home.
Maybe I can be like a big brother and teach you how to get away with stuff being twins.
Yeah. Okay.
Come up with good ideas. An action plan, a massive action plan. What grade are you guys in? Eighth grade.
So we're going into 9.
Okay, so you're going into the freshman year at high school.
They're
14. Okay, good. Now, are you both musicians?
Yes. Yes.
All right. What instrument do you guys play?
I play saxophone, piano, and drums.
Wow. Okay. What about you?
I play piano and drums, and I started trumpet.
Trumpet's a good one. Yeah. I noticed you picked all the loud instruments. Your family must be thrilled.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you ever hear the song by Carole King, The Jazz Man? You got to check that out. I think you would relate to that.
They like jazz.
What do you like about the saxophone?
I like how I like the smooth sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like elevator music.
Do you think that the saxophone, out of all the instruments, really comes closest to what human vocals sound like, in your opinion?
Yeah, like if you do a growl on it, it could sound kind of like Louis Armstrong a bit too.
Okay, I like that. Now, what kind of saxophone do you play?
I play alto.
All right. That's the one that's the smaller one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can also play tenor and soprano.
Well, I would think that once you start playing one saxophone, you could probably play all the reed instruments without too much trouble.
Well, the lower ones are going to be like a lot harder because of the breath.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't play.
Anybody play bagpipes in this room? That's a good instrument. Try that one. What about the accordion? How do you feel about that as an instrument?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely sounds cool.
Yeah. So you like experimenting with instruments. That's good. All right. So what about you? You play what instruments?
Piano, drums, and some trumpet.
Okay. Who's your favorite drummer?
I like Bud Rich.
Buddy Rich.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Have you ever seen Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa doing a kind of like a drum competition?
I've seen a lot of their
that's cool.
solos.
Yeah. So you go on YouTube and you look at all these old drummers?
Yeah.
Let me give you a couple of old drummers. I'm going to go. Let me tell you a couple old. They're really old. They're so old that when God said, "Let there be light," they flipped the switch. That's how old they are. We'll start with Carmine Appice. Check him out. He was the drummer with Vanilla Fudge. And my mom, the first album she ever gave me was Vanilla Fudge. She goes, check these guys out. Led Zeppelin opened up for them. Check out his brother. So you have Carmine Appice. His brother, Vinny Appice. And then the older brother is Vinny Appice. You know, they all pronounce their last name different. So that's interesting, right? So look up those two drummers. And then you got to check out Liberty DeVito. Got this?
Yeah.
There'll be tests on it later. As well as I'll throw in John Bonham. If you're going to be a drummer, you got to know a little bit about John Bonham. He was the drummer for Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I know that one.
Are you guys into Led Zeppelin by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did it take you to realize that Led Zeppelin is just a cover band? Huh? Did you know that? A lot of their early songs are covers of American blues.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, oh, you heard about that, huh?
That was with Greg.
What did you hear about?
We had one of our teachers was talking about how, for example, like there was this other song, they sort of copied it, so
Oh,
there
you
was a
Stairway to
lawsuit,
Heaven.
sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, that was originally done. It was a song called Taurus by the group Spirit. And when you listen to both of them, they're very similar. I'll give you another thing to look up when you get a chance. If you go to Led Zeppelin 1, most of the songs are Willie Dixon covers. Willie Dixon is an artist who wrote a lot of blues. Then there's a song by Led Zeppelin from LZ4, Led Zeppelin 4. It's called When the Levee Breaks. It was written by Memphis Minnie in the 20s. And then you hear the original recordings and you see what Led Zeppelin did. You realize it's an interpretation. Yeah. The rock and roll is based in blues. What kind of educational programs do they have in yours? You guys are from Canada?
Yeah.
Do you sort of get annoyed how Canada is, the characters of Canada on South Park are garbage pail kids? Have you ever watched that?
I think they're funny.
You think that's funny?
Yeah.
And by tradition, they pull off the arm and they do stuff with crazy, right? South Park, good stuff? Mm-hmm. Do your parents know that you watch South Park?
Yeah.
You kind of like letting them not know exactly what you're doing. I got you. It's fine. It's all right. Nobody's going to talk about this. It's just going to be heard by millions. So what are some of the projects that you've been part of at your young age at 14? I understand that you were doing some charity benefits and that you actually went to Taiwan to pay, right?
Yeah.
To pay.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, like the best of all the Chinas that are out there is Taiwan. I want to start an international incident. But anyway, so tell me how you end up in China.
Yeah, so most of our most of our activities, travels are like performances, shows. But with this Taipei thing, Jeannie said that this would be a different experience. So we went over to. It was more of we were helping out kids, or kind of come out of their shell, and then we did a show at the end after 2 weeks. Great.
So when you did this experience, at 14, I can remember when I was 10, I knew what was going on in the world around me. I'd watch the news, I'd read the newspaper, I'd pay attention. And at 14, I was into all kinds of, basically adult-level things because I hung out with the World War II guys. I was a Sea Scout. I was heading towards, boarding school. And then after that, I went to a military school. I was thinking about having a career in the military. And I was always doing what you guys are doing, getting active with the community. Having said all of that, when you experience or see what's going on in the news, the world news, and all the different things that are happening throughout the world, did you notice that there is a big difference between what you hear and see on this continent and then when you go to a place like Taipei, the news or the actual, how the people really are? Do you see the difference?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a change in character, especially the people you meet in the two different places.
So do you find that we have more in common than differences throughout the world?
I would say so.
Yeah, because when you were meeting other kids your age, what did they like? What were they? What were they interested in?
They're sort of the same as us. They like card games. One of them liked anime a lot. One kid liked sports.
Right. So did you find out that they were a lot like you?
Yeah.
All right. So when you learn that people throughout the world are a lot like you, it kind of makes you feel bad that there's wars and rumors of wars, right? It shouldn't be like that. So you guys are the future, and you got to see firsthand that people throughout the world, all they want to do is explore music and games and participate in sports and eat good food and have some fun, right? Yeah, so those are good things to know. What was the biggest thing that you took away when you came back from Taipei and ended up back in North America from Canada? Yeah.
Well, we learned how to work with kids a lot better. We got to see how people acted, their personalities. They would open up to us.
Right.
That was a really big part of their experience.
What?
They were able to help them open up and be more emotional.
So you were able to get the kids in Taipei to open up and be more emotional. More emotional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting stuff.
There's this one girl, she wouldn't talk at all, maybe even for maybe one whole week. Then at the end of the thing, she would even start talking. I think her mom even cried.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's great. And how old was she?
Maybe 7.
Oh, that's
6.
awesome. And what did she want to be, a princess when she grows up?
I'm not
Like a lot of girls, like what they get those Disney princess dresses.
Yeah.
They're so adorable, right? What was her name? Do you remember her name?
No.
No. All right. Well, it's okay.
Oh,
you know.
that's not bad if you
You-
hears it.
now, hey, let me ask you this question: are some of the kids that you met over in Taipei, are they on Facebook, on social media? Were you able to reach out? Do you keep in contact with anybody?
Some, yes, like to some of the moms.
The moms?
Like, I remember one of them, she even came with us to Jane's Benefit to come play. We still do performances with her, and she's going to even come to Canada in August.
Okay. What part of Canada are you from?
British Columbia.
Okay. And you were really happy, I guess, that the Toronto Raptors actually won the NBA championship.
Yeah.
You were psyched about that. Are you BC fans as far as football, the Canadian football?
My dad is.
Yeah.
The Lions. I don't watch
The
that
BC
much.
Lions, right? What are your favorite? You don't watch any of the
I don't
Canadian
watch
football?
that much.
Yeah, I find it annoying because it's only 3 downs, right? I mean, what is that? 3 downs? It just makes no sense. And the football field, all of a sudden you're going from centimeters and meters and kilometers to feet, right? On the yard line. 155. What is that? 55-yard line. It makes no sense. And a rouge. There's certain things about Canada that are just so weird. What's the weirdest thing about Canada? When you come to the United States, you're like, thinking of it, that is kind of weird that we do this back home. Because I could tell you lots of weird things that go on here. What's the weirdest thing about Canada? Or what's the biggest misconception that Americans have about Canada? That you all wear flannel shirts and go, eh? Huh? Is that it?
And a lot of them, where we're from, most of them are actually Asian.
Uh-huh.
Chinese people. Not even.
BC's out in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Okay, so you traveled a far way to get here to New York City. A lot of people don't even know where BC is on the map. So can you explain for anybody listening where BC is, in case they're from New York and maybe they went to public school and nobody showed them a map?
Yeah, it's on the left side of Canada.
The left side of Canada.
The left bottom side.
So if I'm looking at left,
Looking at the map.
but like it's the right side of the picture, left side, my side, right? Now I'm really confusing everybody. That's fine. What's the biggest city over in BC? Is it Vancouver? Is Vancouver a part of British Columbia?
Yeah, that's where Yes, we live.
Now you live in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my gosh, you live in the best city of all. That's one of the best cities in the whole wide world. You live in Vancouver. I don't see why you'd want to leave and go anywhere else.
Well,
What?
they came here.
Yeah?
I met them to do my benefit.
Oh, you did the
they
you did the benefit here. Well, that's great.
That was a great experience.
Yeah.
And that's where I first met them.
And then you got Jane Elissa's hats,
Yeah.
and
They're going to perform again.
you're gonna perform. Where are you gonna perform next? And then we gotta get your friend over here in the background. Let her have a crack at the mic. Where are you gonna perform next?
Are you going to be in Canada performing? Or are you gonna
Oh,
come back?
Canada!
Hopefully they're going to come.
Do you know how to
back.
sing the Canadian national anthem?
No,
No, that's a tough one, right? Yeah.
I don't remember.
really-
What's your favorite hockey team?
The Canadiens from Quebec.
Oh, you like the
Oh yeah, the Montreal
Canadiens.
Les Canadiens Montréal.
Oh, bon après-midi. Comment allez-vous? Hein? Parlez-vous français? Oui.
Oui.
Je ne peux pas parler français. Bad. I'll start speaking Russian next. It'll really throw you off. Well, anyway, thanks for stopping by. Do you have a website? Are you on Facebook? Can anybody follow you?
Myself? No.
All right.
That'll be
Thanks for
next. We'll get
thanks.
them.
Let's go to part 2 now. We're going to
Thank
bring
you.
in the young lady.
Come on in.
Next victim. All right. Turn off one of these mic. What's your name?
My name is Sarah.
And how old are you, Sarah?
I'm 13.
So you're going into 8th grade now,
Yeah.
right?
No, I'm going to ninth.
9th grade.
Right.
Oh, so when's your birthday? In September?
November.
November. Okay. And where are you from? Where do you live?
BC. Same.
So same place. Vancouver?
Yeah.
All right. So I got some great friends that live in Vancouver, like Paul Rogers from Bad Company. He lives in Vancouver. So you could say you all go to the same music school. Okay. What instrument do you, Sarah? What instrument do you play?
I play a little bit of piano and drums and flute.
Flute. Oh, flute's a very interesting. Do you know very interesting instrument? Do you know that there is a rock band that featured the flute. You know that? You ever heard of Jethro Tull?
No.
All right. Well, listen. This guy, Ian Anderson, and we would always kind of have fun with him. He would flout around. He was a flautist that flouted around with a flute. Flouting around with a flute, a flautist. And he would do songs like Hymn 43 and Locomotive Breath and various others. Teacher, Thick as a Brick. And he'd be up there on stage wearing his tights and putting one foot up on the other, and a wild man with his hair all over the place playing. Except their major song, Aqualung. There's no flute in it. It's the biggest song, no flute, but a group, sitting on the park bench. And I'm not going to say the rest of the lyrics. But Jethro Tull is a really cool band that you should check out, especially if you're a flautist flouting around with the flute. Let me ask you, who's your favorite artist right now, performer, in music?
My teacher.
Your teacher? Oh, my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Really? What's your teacher's name?
Her name is Jeannie Lee.
Jeannie Lee is your biggest influence out of everybody. So there's no Taylor Swift. There's no Pink. There's no Lady Gaga. It's your music teacher. Well, that's pretty impressive. So did you go to Taipei as well with your friends there, or was that you didn't get to do that? So you're here in New York playing the benefits?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
No, she hasn't.
Hold on. I don't have your mic on, Jane.
Oh,
What?
Sorry. Oh, you don't have to have my mic.
Well, good. What is she going to do?
Okay, so hopefully she's going to come to the benefit also.
I see.
And help us out. But she also has other interests. They have a feeling about New York City that they should talk about, that they came here. They love the city. They love the plays. They want to see.
Oh, you want me to ask them about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Be a part of New York, right?
All right. Well, look, when you live here, you sort of get a different opinion when you have to go on the subways and take cabs, and you got
we just took a
very
cab.
interesting sights.
Yes.
Have you tried a dirty water dog? Do you know what that is? Dirty water dog?
No.
All right, that's when you go to the cart on the street and you order a hot dog. So I call them dirty water dogs, but most of the people that probably operate the carts wouldn't know what that means, because you really have to be an old person to understand the meaning of a dirty water dog, which I learned from the great Scott Muni when we went to go get hot dogs. I'll take 2 dirty water dogs. You calling a dirty water dog? And mustard and sauerkraut.
I don't think. Have you ever had
No?
a hot dog?
You ever had a hot dog?
They have.
Okay, well, I mean, how can you not have a hot dog? Have you ever had a hot dog?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
of
you
course.
have? Good.
What about hamburgers?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what New York is really famous for? Just about every food you can imagine, but we're really good with the pizza. I mean, I don't think that you can get pizza like you can in New York. I don't know if you guys had any pizza. I could go to the Dirty Deli down the street and get a good slice of pizza. Then they have the $1 pizza and the $2 pizza. That's cheap pizza, right?
So their parents own over here.
Yeah.
Emile and Reynard's parents own a restaurant in it's Vancouver, right? Steveston, which is near right there.
Uh-huh.
And they own it. It's a seafood restaurant
Oh, I love
right
seafood.
on the water. We have to go up there.
One of these days we will.
We'll come
But I
visit.
sort of like, don't want to bring this up, but I'm kind of concerned about the Fukushima water. Like Fukushima disaster. Like, Fukushima water, irradiating my fish. I don't know. Good question, though, right? You ever wonder about that? No? Okay, what's your favorite seafood then?
I like shrimp.
Shrimp. Shrimp is really good. Do you like sushi?
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter eats sushi, too. I don't know how people do that. How do you eat raw fish? I don't understand that.
I don't know.
They cook it.
Do they serve sushi in the restaurant?
No, it's not Japanese.
It's not
Yeah.
Japanese.
All right. Do you like Chinese food? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm telling you, New York has some of the best Chinese food you'll ever experience. There's a place on Mott Street called Wohops. But that's, it's up there. But I would say Sun Li over by Lincoln Center is another great place to go and experience some good Chinese food. And the thing about...
They're going to go and experience Broadway.
So, yeah, okay, but don't go to Ollie's for Chinese food.
No.
You don't want to do that.
No, they're going to go to some Broadway shows.
I see. I shouldn't have said that. I take that back
Take
about
that
don't
back.
go to Ollie's.
Yeah.
Go to Ollie's.
Take that back.
It's wonderful.
Go wherever you want.
There's a place on 39th Street over by Bryant Park that is the curry food, the Indian food. Oh, my gosh. We went and had that before Remember you were doing your show at Bryant Park?
Yes, I was in
Well,
Bryant.
after that, we went and had this Curry Heaven place.
And it was delicious.
Oh, my, it was off the charts.
So we have to
And,
recommend
yeah,
that.
we got food trucks of all kinds of different foods. We have, but I got to say, if you're in New York City and you don't try some pizza, you're going to miss out. And also the bagel. People got a lot of nerve. Let me just instruct you about the bagel. People got a lot of nerve outside of New York thinking what bagels are outside. They're not, the ones you get in the frozen bag. I can't mention by brand because then somebody always gets upset. Those are not bagels, okay? They come in the bag.
New York.
No, you got to have a New York bagel. You got to go to or New Jersey, But they're huge. They're humongous. And they have all different flavors of bagels, So you got to try. Did you try bagel yet? No.
All right. Well,
Oh my gosh, this is horrible.
So they're going to go to see a Broadway show.
Okay, I got that. I'm still on the food. We'll
I
get to
see
the
that.
Broadway show. Because I want, like when you come to the city like this, you experience, you got to make sure that you get some pizza.
Okay.
All right?
Make sure of that.
Now, we'll take care of that after. So what Broadway show are you going to see?
The Cher show.
Oh, the Cher show.
The Cher
Okay.
show. We're going to see the
Are
Cher
you guys all Cher fans?
They have no clue.
Do you have no clue who Cher is?
No.
If I can turn back time.
They
That
don't-
sounds like Cher when I sing.
And they're going to actually, we have a friend who's in the show
Right?
who was my shining star last year. His name is Blaine Alden Krause. And so hopefully we're going to see him and we're going to go backstage.
That's cool.
Tonight, actually, we're doing that. So they and she loves a lot of Broadway, like
All right.
Miz.
Let me ask Sarah some questions.
Ask her.
So what are your favorite Broadway shows, Sarah?
I like Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde, okay.
And Les Mis.
Les Mis. Uh-huh. What do you like about Les Mis? A lot of people go and see that and they cry. You need a good cry when you go to Broadway? I don't need a good cry. I cry horribly on the 15th and 30th without fail when I check my my bank account after I get paid. Just the tears roll down my cheeks. It should be on Broadway. But what do you like about Les Miserables? Did I say it right? Is my French good? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oui?
I like the songs
Uh-huh.
and the acting.
Okay. If you were to be, would you like to be on Broadway one day and maybe one of the actresses?
I'm not really an actor or singer.
Oh, I see. How about writing a musical? Would you like to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah? And if you were to play in a band, you know how they have the orchestra? You'd go with the flute, drums, or piano? Flute. I like the flute. It's really good. In your school, how many people are interested in the flute?
Like 20.
20 kids? All right. What makes the flute so interesting as an instrument?
It's like an easy instrument.
It really?
To
Yeah?
learn.
So you think that I can learn how to play the flute? You think I could do that? I don't know. We got to try one of these days. Now, here's the thing about the wind instruments, guys and gals. I understand you switch out the reed, get your own reed, and even on the trumpet, you can get your own, the mouthpiece. But you know how it goes in school. Ugh, you're putting your mouth on something that somebody already spit into, with those instruments. It's kind of gross when you think of it. So does that ever freak you out when you're playing those instruments? Like, oh, man, the last person probably had some sort of weird, funky thing going on. Here I'm using this instrument. Or do you have brand new instruments? How does any of that work? I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question.
In grade 6, we had to use a school thing.
Ew!
And then in grade 7, we got to buy our own stuff. But one time I forgot my flute at home, so I had to use the school flute, and I think I got sick.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's so icky. Oh, gross. All right, well, I guess it's part of life. You get sick from playing the flute every now and then when it's not your flute, which the moral of the story is, Mom and Dad, buy your kids the wind instruments. Buy them their own, Yeah. All right, so you like Broadway. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be like an eye person.
An eye person? What does that mean? An eye doctor?
Yes.
Oh, do you want to be an ophthalmologist or an optometrist?
I don't know. Do you know the difference?
An ophthalmologist makes more money than the optometrist. Anybody can. I could be an optometrist, okay, but an ophthalmologist, that's completely different. Not to once make an optometrist feel bad, but an optometrist is much like the chiropractor of healthcare in the eyes, right? And here, put on these glasses. How much are they going to charge? I don't know, like $600. What do I get for this $600? Not much. There's just $600. Why am I paying this kind of money? Those are the frames. Is it covered underneath insurance? No, not really. Take these odd drops. Have a nice day. That's pretty much my experience at the optometrist now. The ophthalmologist. This guy's like,
The doctor.
yeah, the real doctor's like, I think we can fix this so you can see clearly. I'm not sure if I want to see clearly, but it's covered underneath the insurance, 100%. Okay, there we go. Sign me up for that. And that's basically it, which means that you'll have to do very well in high school, and then you'll have to do very well in undergrad, take one of those pre-medical type of programs, and then you get into medical school, and you can be an ophthalmologist. There you go.
Is that what you want?
We got it all figured out for you.
Yeah.
So when you become an ophthalmologist, you're not going to charge me a copay, are you? No? All right, I'm just kidding around. All right, Sarah, thanks a lot for stopping by. And now, finally, we're going to do something completely different. We're going to sing a song. I don't know if we're all going to do it together, but that's really Greg's job. So, Greg Gallagher, did I get the right name?
Bobby Gallagher.
Bobby Gallagher. Who the hell's Greg?
Come on here.
Greg, you know.
I was thinking, you know where that came from? The Brady Bunch.
Oh.
So I was thinking, Greg, Bobby. You guys watch the Brady Bunch? Great show. All right. So
Let's see what's happening here.
let's see. So everybody's on the microphone. Everybody's got the ability to do some vocals. You guys do some singing? You like in chorus or nothing like that? Oh, you're the typical piano players and rhythm guys. That's what. And you play the flute, so you don't have to sing, right? Is that what that is about? All right. So Bobby,
Hi, thanks for having me.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so my name's Bobby Cook Gallagher, 25, actor, live performer.
Have you been here before? Have we talked before?
No.
Is this deja vu all over again?
No, I wish it was, because you have
okay.
a great place here.
All right. Well, it's cool. You're welcome anytime. Just bring coffee and
know?
bagels.
All right, bagels.
All right. So yes, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm 25. I'm a live theater actor. I've been lucky to go from state to state across the country, doing shows anywhere from Mamma Mia to Seven Brides, Seven Brothers, New Works in between. And yeah, so hopefully I don't want to say up and coming, but I graduated in 2016, moved here this January.
Where'd you graduate from?
Catholic University of America.
Oh, okay.
DC.
Yeah, down in D.C. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
school. Right.
Love it.
Did they
great-
make you take
great
some
stuff.
theology?
Yes, they
That's
did.
good.
They made us
I
take
don't.
some
I don't
theology.
ever want to hear anybody come from a Catholic university and say, "Well, I didn't take any theology." I'm like, well, then go back and finish.
Yeah. So I took theology, and
It's good stuff. I
It
mean,
is.
you know, a lot of kids, they go, all right, I'll take the New Testament. And they think, oh, this is going to be easy. I know this. Like you find out, oh, no, you don't know as much as you think. But what was, I'm really interested in this.
Yeah.
What did you find fascinating about the theology courses at American?
Well, for me, at Catholic University, theology.
Catholic University.
No problem.
I'm old.
But no, you look
Thank you.
young like
Thank
a
you.
rose.
I'm going to have you as my assistant.
I'm
Okay,
hired.
good.
Take
good.
me. But for me, the most interesting part was I went to their music school, a bachelor's in music for musical theater. But one of the interesting classes I did take, they really focus on not just Catholicism. They have like world religions. They have specific courses on Islam. So there's a lot you can find within their course studies.
Liturgical music is very interesting because it's ancient.
Yes,
Did you take any of those?
I had to every semester in choir.
Really? That's fantastic.
We sung anything from just like every year we'd sing like classic the Hallelujah chorus. I think I've sung the Hallelujah chorus at
Gazillion times.
Every Christmas for 10 years.
Well, I'm an Orthodox priest, and the liturgy is sung. The entire liturgy is sung. They've done that in
really?
the Roman Rite too, where they'll sing on certain days where they go through, the whole mass is sung. So because it's Russian Orthodox, every once in a while they decide to go Russian on me.
Oh, really?
At the Slavonic, and so Господи помилуй, which is Lord have mercy. I usually go Lord have mercy, but I don't sing that. I'm singing the other parts of what's called the Acatania. And then you have the Irnos, which is the intro, and all of these different things that go back to thousands of years ago, and the tones, the various tones. And then, of course, you have the Gregorian.
Yes.
Right?
The going way back.
Right.
You know your stuff. You're going
Yeah,
way back.
I know my liturgical stuff, especially like the Pater Noster.
Yes.
Pater Noster, qui es in celis, sanctificeta nomen tuum, Advenia regnum tuum fiat voluntas tua sicut est, all the whole thing.
Whoa.
I think Ave Maria.
Yes,
no,
Ave Maria, there we go.
no, it's not. That's not.
Ave Maria.
Now that's the one. That's great, but I'm thinking there's an Salve Regina Mater Misericordiae
there's so
Vita
many
Dolce Do et Spes Natura Salve. I don't even know how I can freaking remember.
I'm like, you have an honorary degree. Congratulations.
Yeah, they're honorary degree.
Honorary degree. You
can get places with the honorary degree.
You so can.
All right, so let's move over to the Broadway stuff and this genre of music. For a young person, I find it fascinating because it's really easy to get caught up in what we call pop music.
Yes.
Right? And because you want to fit in with everybody else.
Yeah.
How was that growing up for you? I guess you probably went to a beat of your own drum, so to speak.
I do now, but it wasn't always like that, especially coming right out of college in 2016. I started classically trained, like opera, like Don Giovanni, like Divina la finestra mio tesoro, like that whole thing.
That's great.
Thanks. Shout out to Rick Chrisman, my voice teacher from Catholic. And Marilyn Moore.
I might want to get a voice teacher myself. Maybe I can,
look, I think
I'm fat enough to be an opera singer, right, Sarah?
No,
she's not saying.
Poor
Sarah.
Well, going back from, for Broadway, it's very interesting because Broadway, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, projects that have been in the works for the last 5, are really sort of changing the demographic of people who can relate to shows. Yeah,
I think the classic Broadway shows that we're all used to are kind of disappearing. Yeah. And sometimes they make a limited,
appearance,
a limited run, and they're gone. But like Miss Saigon is an example of that.
Yeah.
And a few others. But yeah, I did see Anastasia.
Oh,
I thought that was great. It really did a very good job of sharing the history of the Bolshevik Revolution and the Tsar and Tsarina and the kids, the royal martyrs, as they're known in the church. I thought that was really good. And then I also saw Chicago. I like that.
Classic. That was one of the first shows I ever saw.
See, that's good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Miss Saigon, I've seen a couple of times. Hello, Dolly.
Oh, my God, yes, Hello, Dolly.
And all of them I somehow ended up in the front row, which is when you go in the front row, it's awesome. Except when the performers kind of spit on you. I'm like, come on. I need an umbrella here. What is this, Gallagher?
Yeah, watermelon.
Yeah.
And come from the opposite side, when you're on stage and you're just having a wet night, your body's just like sweating a lot. You're just like silently saying just like an I'm
poor guy
sorry
in the first. Everybody.
So the poor guy in like A4.
But then there are times where, I have a tendency to be cut up. Like my friend Tiki Barber was in Kinky Boots, and I threatened to go up on in the front row and just stare at him the entire time because it's really. They don't know who he is. Tiki Barber is a former NFL football player and played for the New York Giants. Went to the Super Bowl. His brother Rondé played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he's a famous, well-known New York football giant, and is a very popular person, very nice man. He lives here in the New York area. Comes in here later on during the day. But I threatened to just sit there in the front row and maybe even eat lemons while he's up there. It's something to really mess him up. Having said that, any of you guys, how does that feel when you're performing in front of people that know you and they're just and a family, right? They become super judgmental. They have my father, you said and a lot. And you also mispronounced this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, all right, well, you think you can do it, be on the air with millions of people listening and never make a mistake. Have at it, Dad. You ever have those kind of experiences?
Well, I've yes, but it's always been, I've been lucky to have a very supportive family.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And they always, whenever they'd be like, all right, hey, you're doing something crazy with your face at this one part, this one thing you're learning. And it would never be a thing of hammering it down. It's criticism. It's constructive criticism. I was lucky that,
you're lucky that your dad wasn't a drill sergeant. That's it.
Yeah, I've had directors who, people who just pick out every little single thing, and you have to operate from a standpoint of, part of it's coming from a place of they want this to be better, and they're just trying to do it the way that they know how.
I guess. But, listen, guys, I've been, to this day, I have gotten more reject letters than you can imagine. More people say no than yes. You only get an occasional yes. Mm-hmm. Most of the time it's no. And then you can't get into the comparison thing where somebody gets it and you don't. You got to go, all right, well, good. There's people that you're not going to like, so you're not going to really root for them. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's a very hard thing to root for people you cannot stand. So better off just ignoring that there's success. I'm like, I don't know I'm not paying. And that's what you do. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what he or she is doing. It's not my thing. I'm doing my own thing over here. Forget about it.
Yeah, you have to forget everything.
Yeah, you got to forget everything around. You have to almost,
concentrate on
yeah, like put the horse blinders on. I also found it, Bob, that it's really difficult for me I can be in a room of a lot of people, like 20, 30,000 people, and if I'm on stage introducing a band, which I've done in the past, I don't have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. Put me in front of 5 people, I can't take it.
There's things behind. I understand that. It's a different perspective. Because when you're doing it, I've had the opportunity to do theater in all kinds of formats, like in an alleyway theater where they're 5 feet from you, in a dinner theater, on a kids' tour in school, out in California. So you feel the audience more. Because when you're in a proscenium or when you're in an arena and there's, 3,000, 10,000.
It's more intimate.
I get
intimate. It. Yeah.
And you're not just performing for them. You feed off their energy.
That's true too. Yeah, and sometimes you have to get the energy up on the crowd, but you got to shake it up a little bit.
Matinees,
because especially at matinees. But in New York, people will stand there looking at you with their arms crossed, impress me. They're having a good time, so don't fall for that crap. Now, you're doing this fundraiser. You're with these kids here. So tell us what you're doing right now.
Sure. Well, right now I'm just got off doing some cabarets. I'm studying I came up here really for the training. And, besides auditioning, so if anyone's listening, EMC, which is the Equity Membership Candidate Program.
Yeah. Okay. So you get you right in the union. I like that.
So it's the on track. Yeah, that's the theater. Equity is the live performance union for you. But just in case anyone who's interested, Equity Actors Association.
Right.
But yeah, besides cabarets, just trying to plow my way through the pavement of doing student films when I can.
Student films.
Oh,
that's
I love
great.
film. Yeah. It's a whole nother medium, and it's fascinating how growing up you think, okay, you perform, everyone's like, oh, you just perform, you do whatever. But film and television, there's aspects that collide. It's a totally different beast of different gears. And
I would say this: if you were to ask me who has the toughest job, the movie actor, the television actor, the news anchor, or the Broadway star, I would always say the Broadway star.
Same.
Because the Broadway star has to do the same show over and over again, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, depending on the schedule. They don't get off. It's very physical, especially when there's a lot of dance and movement involved, especially when you have to rush to get change of clothes or whatever's going on, change the scenery. And then, just because you know it really well does not mean you won't forget what you're doing in the middle of doing it.
Yes.
And you got to work ways of, all right, after a while, you get so good at solving the problem that nobody notices. And that's the objective of a good Broadway star, to be able to solve it where nobody notices. Or the director is like, hey, that was a good improv that you just did up there. And you're like, well, I'm just, keeping the show from dying, keeping it moving forward.
Have you ever had a time when
I kind of went back at the beginning?
Yeah. That's the good way. Just start over, And you can get up and you go, I meant for that to happen. It's my art. Now, everybody focus, blame it on somebody else. That's what we do around here. It's always the sound guy's fault. So what is, in the next 5 years, Bobby, where do you see yourself?
Broadway. But realistically, my whole career up to this point, as avenues have opened up, which I never thought. I never thought I would perform at Strathmore, the Kennedy Center, or
the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
big.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us how did you end up at the Kennedy Center?
Well, It was with Catholic University, and the Kennedy Center was doing a review of West Side Story.
Oh, okay.
And and I got to sing some of Tony's material on their main stage. It was one of the craziest things ever. And right after that, I did Children of Eden at the Strathmore. So, which, same area, Maryland, huge. And Children of Eden, amazing score. Stephen Schwartz.
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah, good stuff. But it was all, I would have never thought that would have happened. And I'm more of a classical singer. So if you would have told me, 5 years ago that I would have just done 2 productions of Mamma Mia in a row in Philly and then in California, I'd be like, now you're looking for one of the pop singers. Just like
yeah. Oh,
down
yeah,
the hall
I can understand it. So having said that, what is your favorite rock band?
Oh, my favorite rock band. It's a tie between Foreigner and Queen.
I can't believe you said Foreigner, by the way, earlier
love
before
Foreigner.
because I have a joke.
Yeah.
On the radio, like I always say, like I like all the groups except for Foreigner, because and then I would make fun of people that so and so is the president of the International Foreigner Fan Club. I like Queen a lot. I think that sometimes you just, because of the biopic, you go back and you rediscover.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So you go back and you rediscover something that you missed the last time. Now, we got to wrap this up. So
Of course.
you're working with Jane, Elissa, and you can go to Hats for Hope, right?
For health.
What?
Hats for health.
Hats for Health.
For Health.
Where did the hope come in?
I don't know.
Oh.
Hope. We all have hope.
See, this is why I can't be an actor, because I forget my lines too easily.
It's okay.
That
That does
and
not
I would
exclude
make
you
it
for
up
being an actor.
Really?
Oh,
Well, we'll have to
no,
talk.
live
We'll have to
theater.
talk off the air. But how about you pick one song that if you're going to do your audition, okay, and really try to make an impression on the casting director, what is your go-to song? And you could just do maybe one verse.
Yes.
Okay.
This leaves an impression. I won't say the tongue. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Teach Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. You teach me and I'll teach you. It's early in the morning.
That's fine.
Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Yeah.
Getting a Pokemon.
Yeah. That's...
Yeah, I hear you. The Pokemon is great stuff.